Well, howdy doody, boys and girls. This is Max. I'm back again. Yes, he's back. And it is about 6:59 p.m. What you see on the clock on the wall, there's an error of parallax there because the camera isn't directly looking at it. That's okay, it's time. Let's get down to what I want to talk about today. And we could talk about LA and the riots and the troops, or we can talk about something else. And I got a survey from the staff and they said anything but. So I want to talk about America's declining faith in God, our declining traditional love of the church, of God, what have you, and how the world's largest religion, that's the Roman Catholic Church, is in spiritual and physical danger. I mean, they're in more danger than they've been in centuries. You can largely thank Pope John Paul II, and you can certainly thank Anti-Pope Francis, the Jesuit pig. But that's another matter. Let's try not to speak too often of the dead, although occasionally it's not a bad idea. All right, here we go. What about Pope Leo XIV? How about him? You think he can save the Catholic Church? If you look at the American Catholic Church, it's almost a reformist church. It has broken away from everything, from doctrine, from dogma. Understand the decline in devotion to Jesus Christ, to the Sacred Heart. That's just one of a bucket load of symptoms of this virus that is infecting Catholicism. It's a virus of a lack of faith. It's a virus of, oh yeah, prove-itism. I mean, the sacrament of baptism has been minimized. Even more tragically, the sacrament of confession has been rendered irrelevant. And the Holy Mass itself, if you stepped out of a time machine from, say, 50 years ago, you would not recognize it. It has been so altered, so polluted, so desecrated, so reorganized that the Holy Mass, if you want Holy Mass, go to one of the many churches out there that are cropping up that are under the leadership of the Society of Pope Pius X, the Society of St. Peter. That's another matter. Let's get back to the Holy Mass. As it is today, it would be completely unrecognizable to anybody stepping out of a time machine. Thousands of years of doctrine, dogma, faith have all been ravaged almost beyond recognition in just 60 years. You understand? It took thousands of years to build it. And it's taken about 60 to tear it to pieces. We have Pope John Paul II. We have Jesuit anti-Pope Francis. As the Roman hierarchy, they spent a lot of time chipping away at the foundations of the church. They eviscerated worship of Christ, devotion, commitment. They laid bare the dogma of the Holy Church and stomped it into the mud. They pissed on our dogma. Understand, God instilled in man, that's men, women, boys, girls, in humankind, God has instilled a desire to worship Him. Unfortunately, the satanic injection of evil from today's society and those popes, the ones I'm talking about, have wrought unimaginable damage right across the board. Leadership under John Paul II and Jesuit Francis, all it did was encourage a truckload of sins plaguing the church. They made divorce nothing. What's the sacrament of marriage? Oh, not really. The church will give you an annulment just as easy as the state will give you a divorce. It's wrong. You understand? These two monsters endorsed spiritual destruction from within the church and from without. Yeah, but just think about it for a minute. From communion in the hand to communion regardless of mortal sin, we have seen the Holy Eucharist, the literal body and blood of Jesus Christ, diminished in an almost meaningless nod to God. Speaking of nod to God, nobody genuflects anymore. That's discouraged. Instead, you get this all too subtle, totally insincere, shallow nod. You walk by the tabernacle, you give a little nod of the head and walk on. What the hell is wrong with the genuflect? Well, that's because it's part of the old church. And boy, I'll tell you what, John Paul II and Francis have almost destroyed the old church. Going from bad to worse was Francis's relentless assault on the Latin Mass. This pig did everything short of declaring war on traditional Catholics. He banned the traditional rite of the Mass. He called the traditional Mass a slap in the face to his authority as Pope. You see, as usual, it wasn't about God. It was all about him. How this guy ever made Pope? Anyway, Francis' tenure as Pope was an uneasy exercise in heresy and treason. Unbridled, unashamed, he labeled any and all practices, statements, whatever, that he didn't like or approve of. It became a challenge to his authority. Again, this wasn't about God or the church. This is all about him. The guy had an ego even bigger than mine. Oh my God, not really? Yeah, really. Continuing his atrocities, Francis advanced his evil reign over the church. He openly betrayed Catholicism as he communed with Muslims, Jews alike, approving and even endorsing elements of their doctrine and dogma. This guy often proclaimed that the beliefs of Judaism and of Islam, that their doctrines and their dogmas were equally valid to those of the Holy Catholic Church. He said, you're as right as we are. What the hell is wrong with you? You mean the intolerant rabble called Islam, all their teachings are as valid as the Catholic Church's? Open up your catechism and get back with me. He went so far once as to praise the writings and teachings of the Islamic prophet Muhammad. Boy, and he remained Pope. There's a problem, kids. As he sowed rancor and spiritual death across the landscape of Catholicism, Francis the Betrayer sat down with Catholic American politicians. Yeah, like Nancy Pelosi, like Joe Biden. They're Catholics, politicians, even though they openly defy dogma. They support abortion, euthanasia, LGBT queer, and all these other sinful practices, marriage out of wedlock, birth control, everything. They support all of this. Yet they sat down with the Pope. The Pope should have refused them office, but he didn't. Instead, he said, you know what? It's okay. You can still partake of the Eucharist. You can have Holy Communion. Even though you're in a state of mortal sin, that's a quick ticket to hell, if ever there was one. First class, going down. He told them there was no need to confess their sins or even forsake them, but that they could freely partake of the Holy Eucharist anyway. Move over, make an extra seat for Francis. He's probably already there. He made it possible, despite their mortal sin, for them to fall into cardinal sin. Understand, a venial sin is a sin that you sort of commit. You don't think about it. It's like, I'll call you back, you never do. Or you're so beautiful. These are all venial sins. A mortal sin is a sin that you commit knowing it's wrong, recognizing it, and doing it anyway. Then there's cardinal sin. That's what these people are falling. Cardinal sin. You don't just go into the confessional and say, gee, Father, I committed a cardinal sin. No. You got to go to the bishop, pal. And I can guarantee you that you haven't seen Pelosi or Biden go to the bishop to make up for taking the sacrament. Francis is a pig. He led him into this. He let him do it. Again, let's start warming up that rocket sled to hell. We got more politicians coming on down. You know, with the badly needed passing of Anti-Pope Francis, he's gone, yay, the church needs an overhaul. Maybe our new Pope, Leo XIV, can do something. Maybe he can pull the Holy Church out of its nosedive. Let everybody, Catholic or not, pray that Pope Leo will restore the church to its former righteous glory. Only God, through a righteous and good Pope, can rescue the church from its peril. I'm Max, and that's the way it is.